We can also discuss all of this with Elbashir Idris. He's a Sudan affairs analyst and a human rights advocate, speaking to us from Cardiff in Wales. Elbashir, good to have you on this program. So when we talk about this particular city of Babanousa in Kordofan state, why is it so important? And if the RSF does indeed have control of it and continues to hold that control, what does it mean for the future of that region and Sudan as a whole?
Thank you for having me. Yes, Babanousa, as of today, has, yesterday, in fact, has fallen to the RSF. However, what we're seeing here is an ebb and flow. Essentially, this is not the first time Babanousa has been captured by the RSF or even captured by the Sudanese armed forces. It's been going back and forth between the control of the two warring parties. However, now it seems to shift, where this means that the RSF has control of the city, meaning they have control of that state of West Kordofan. Now, it's so strategically important as it's a gateway towards Darfur. If you're heading from the east to the west and vice versa, it is a gateway into the east and north of Sudan, moving into Khartoum. So this strategic area, which is essentially a gateway towards the two different sides of Sudan, where we're seeing massive bases of these warring parties, but also the train tracks of Babanousa is essential, as it's a key logistical hub that would be very important for whoever has control. Currently, as of this morning, the Rapid Support Forces have been showing videos that they do have control of the city. The Sudanese armed forces, though it's come out with statements saying that they have repelled the attack, this is pretty astonishing and perplexing, as it seems that the Sudanese armed forces want to show that they still have the morale. Mm-hmm. However, from there, they can move towards an attack towards El Obeid and North Kordofan and into Khartoum. And earlier this year, about a month ago, I have mentioned that the Rapid Support Forces, two different scenarios is either to partition the nation, especially after the fall of Elbashir in North Darfur, or continue towards the invasion towards Khartoum and beyond. And the fall of Western Kordofan is essentially a statement that the RSF wishes to push further towards Khartoum and towards El Obeid and take that region. However, in the humanitarian context, initial reports have stated that there are about 100 families left within Babanousa, 70 of those affiliated towards soldiers of the Sudanese armed forces, 30 of those families, 30 families actually, are those who are civilians, and just like the 70 who are civilians and who found themselves stuck. Essentially, Babanousa has been under siege for a long time, and the Rapid Support Forces has come to essentially take over.
Elbashir, we're going to get a little bit more in depth with the humanitarian crisis Sudan is facing and millions of Sudanese are facing right now. But whoever controls Kordofan also controls a large amount of Sudan's resources. So if you have a situation where the country is divided, not the first time it would have happened in Sudan, what does that mean then for the resources? Because the strategic town of Babanousa is also not just a gateway to the rest of the country, but a massive gateway to the oil-rich region.
Exactly. And it's because of that gateway to the oil-rich region, which is, for those who don't know, Kordofan is just bordering with South Sudan. And Sudan's, before the split in 2011, Sudan's oil supply was within that south, but also the mid-range of Sudan. And Kordofan lies within there is a strategic oil rig and reserve known as Hijlig, where essentially that would be the money, you can say, of the Sudan, especially in terms of oil, which has oil pipelines that runs from Hijlig, Kordofan, going all the way through the north, reaching to Port Sudan, where essentially that oil is essentially sent out or sent to a Jaili refinery in Khartoum, where it is refined from crude into something a bit more manufactured. And that is the problem here. What we're looking at is an artery of Sudan that is under attack. We have seen multiple arteries who are very strategic and important lines. However, in this Babanousa one, it can definitely sway the ebb and flow of this war, essentially cutting off the money routes of the Sudanese armed forces and their resources, and that would not only impact the nation and its civilians in terms of getting any kind of income, but also regional powers and internationals as well who do rely on this oil. So just from this small city, we can see the ramifications as geostrategically and nationally as well.
Yeah, the small city really holding great importance. It could be a key moment here in this war in Sudan. I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there, but really good to speak to you, Elbashir Idris, there for us in Cardiff.